Hey, what's up everybody? It's with the Misfit. It's been quite a while since I've made a video, but I want to get right back into it. So the other day I asked you guys to send me some drawing requests on Instagram, and you did not disappoint. I got some pretty, let's call them unique requests. The first one comes from Blog Did This, and it says, a creepy old hand coming out of a cuckoo clock. Alright, let's do it. To start off, I want to address that I did record this upright instead of landscape, so I'm sorry if the drawing is like kind of small on your screen. I'll definitely record it the correct way for the next video. I'm still kind of working out the kinks. So as you can see, I started off with just a very simple sketch of a house for the cuckoo clock. I didn't really want to put too much detail into the clock itself because I wanted the main focus to really be that creepy hand. So there I go, starting to sketch out the hand. I'm starting with just very rough shapes, but I swear it's all gonna come together. And I of course decided that I wanted the hand to be giving you a big old middle finger, just cause I mean, who's ever really happy to hear like an alarm go off? Usually it's just like, ah, fuck. Unless it's like a timer telling me my food is ready, then maybe I'll be kind of excited. Now that I have the hand drawn out, I'm starting to add more of like the creepy aspects to it. I'm adding like some really long, nasty nails, some really thick knuckles. You know, honestly, arthritis runs in my family, so that might be my future there. I'll probably keep my nails trimmed though. By the way, I know that that second finger doesn't really line up, like, at all. But I didn't notice until I was actually editing, so I ended up fixing it after the fact, like not recording myself fixing it, but I did, so you'll end up seeing that fixed version at the end of this. And there I am, just adding a few more details to the cuckoo clock, because I felt like it was just a bit too plain. I noticed that some of those clocks have like little dangly things. I don't really know what they do, but I decided to just add it in. I added a little bat and a little eyeball dangling from there. And that's pretty much it for the sketch. I ended up actually just inking it without recording just because my inking process is very painfully slow and I really didn't think you guys would be interested, so we're skipping right ahead to coloring. I normally color things in using the fill tool, but this time I think some of my lines weren't closed and I didn't feel like hunting down and figuring out where it was, so I just went ahead and manually colored it in. I know it's a little bit messy, but it works out. And now I'm on to the hand. So I felt like my hand was creepy enough, but it wasn't really an old hand. So I decided to kind of interpret the word old as in like putrefying, so that's why I ended up coloring it green. And of course I had to add some hairy moles just for good measure. A little more hair here and there, and then we can move on to shading. I usually do my shading by selecting my base color and then messing with the values. I make it darker for shading and then lighter for highlights. I do that on a separate layer with like a very soft airbrush and usually with a lower opacity. And there you have it! Thank you so much Blog for starting us off. My next request comes from Nuembi, and he asked for a butt with a heart tattoo, farting out a smiling ghost. I think I can do that for you. I'm not gonna lie, that butt looks a little rough for a lot of the sketching phase. It took me quite a while to really get it looking the way I wanted it to, but I ended up getting there. I got it eventually. I do a lot of traditional art, so whenever I do digital, I love how convenient it is to just use that transform tool to pick stuff up and move it around, instead of just having to erase and redraw and erase and redraw. It's just the best. Now that I've got the booty the way I want it, I could probably find better wording for that, but whatever. I start working on the heart. I know I was only asked to do a simple heart, but I've always wanted one of those flash tattoos of the butts inside of the hearts, so I decided to go ahead and draw that instead. And now it's time to draw our friendly neighborhood ghost, Gasper. Gasper the friendly ghost fart. Isn't he cute? He looks like a little troublemaker. Like, I bet you he's probably one of those like silent but deadly ghost farts. There's the sketch. And once again, I did the inking off camera, just because, you know, I feel like that'd be boring. So there you go. And it's time to move on to coloring once again. This time I was able to use the fill feature a bit more. I did still have a few open lines, so I still had to color by hand, but not as much as last time. I colored the booty purple, just so we could call her like a vampire or a ghoul, just because I don't think any humans are really farting out ghosts. At least I'm not. Unless it's like the ghost of my dinner, but that's a completely different thing. Here I am giving Gasper just a bit of a glow. I do that by selecting him and then copying him onto a separate layer behind the original layer, and then adding a blur effect to that. Then I add some more shading on the butt to really give it that dimension and depth so it really pops. We add a little bit more shading on Gasper, our little friend here, and that's about it. Thank you so much again, Nuembi, for your idea. I really enjoyed making this. The next one wasn't really a suggestion as much as it was a question. It comes from Fat Cap'n, and it says, "Wait, how would spiders sit on chair?" I don't know, dude. I think he's asking the real life questions, so I decided to go ahead and draw this one. How would spiders sit on chair? I don't know, so I decided to start off by just drawing a simple chair and then seeing where that takes me. Here you can see that I horizontal flipped the chair. That was so I could see my mistakes. I could tell that it looked a little wonky, but I couldn't tell exactly what. So that's a tip. Once you flip it, it's very obvious what's wrong. I think if I were a spider, I would be way more comfortable on my nice silky web that I made myself than I would be on a very hard and uncomfortable chair. So I think the chair should just be a base for the spider to build his web. Alright, I got all 8 legs in there, and then it's time to work on the face. I was looking at pictures of spiders for reference, and some either had just 4 like equally sized eyes, or 2 big ones and then 4 little ones. So I went with the 2 big ones and 4 little ones. So there's my sketch, and I once again did the inking off camera, blah blah blah. You get it by now, right? The only part that I didn't ink yet was the web, and that's just because I wanted to use like a sketchy brush at the end to do that. So you'll see that at the end. By the way, I'm sorry for all of you arachnophobes. Should I have added a trigger warning at the beginning? Actually, you guys saw what the prompt was, right? That was the warning. Right? There we go. This drawing makes me feel like I'm walking into a job interview. Like the spider's the interviewer, and if I don't get the job, he'll eat me at the end. I don't know, that's just what came to mind. For this drawing, I wanted the shading to be a bit deeper, just so it would really push that creepy feel. So my darks are a bit darker and my lights are a bit lighter than the last couple drawings. And it's finally time to draw in that web. So like I mentioned before, I used a sketchier brush to do this, and I did it in gray. I just went over each line a few times, not really trying to be neat at all, because I don't feel like webs would be neat. And now I just go back and clean it all up, erase anything that's overlapping on the spider. I did leave a few areas over the legs, just so it could kind of look like the spider's weaved into the web. And done! Thank you so much, Fat Cap'n, for asking the real questions. I really love how this one turned out, and I think it's probably my favorite of this set. I was only planning on doing 3 drawings, but your guys' suggestions were just so good that I had to do a 4th. So my last drawing comes from Useless Paint, and it says, "A pigeon, but the head is a cat." Let's do it. This drawing actually went by very quickly. I don't know if you guys ever get into the flow of things and things just work out, you don't really mess up too much, you don't have to erase too much, and it kind of just flows. Well, that's how it went with this one, and I really enjoyed drawing it, so I'm so happy that I decided to do one more. At first, I was just doing a cat-pigeon hybrid, but I felt like the other drawings in this set were pretty creepy, and I didn't think a cat-pigeon would be all that creepy. So, as you can see, I ended up kind of making it look like a cat head is stitched onto the pigeon. So there's the initial sketch, and here comes the inking. And it's time to get coloring. This time I actually did close most of my lines except for the cat head that you see right there. So I was able to really take advantage of that fill tool and not have to like hand draw or hand color most of it. In my initial sketch, I did have the pupil in the eyes, but then I decided to just give it that really hollowed out dead look to really push the creep factor. Oh, and I also forgot to mention I added some goo coming out of the cat's neck during the inking process, just because I felt like it was missing a little something. So yeah, the shading and stuff was pretty straightforward on this one, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm actually so happy with how all of these drawings turned out, and I think these like suggestions really challenge me because these are just not things that I would normally draw on my own at all. There's the final piece, so thank you so much Useless Paint for, unleashing this abomination upon the world. And thank you so much to everybody that sent in a request, even if I didn't pick it for this video. Please leave me some more requests in the comments below. I want to make another one of these in maybe a week or 2, and I'll be picking from the comments this time. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!